Firefighters are making progress on knocking out a huge fire at a potato factory plant in Grant County, which they say nearly caused an explosion. Plus, the lives of 3 National Guardsmen were lost due to a tragic helicopter training accident. They have the latest on the investigation. Good Morning Northwest continues right now.
From Camp KView Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and happy Friday. Thanks for starting it off with us. I'm Monica Petrozelli. Kristen, it sounds like we're going to get a bit of a break from the snow today.
Yes, you know, I think a lot of locations dry, just a lot of cloud cover early on, but slow clearing. So part of the weekend, we're going to enjoy some of that sunshine. But let's start off with that live look right now. This is from Richland's Columbia Point. We are going to see, just especially around the Columbia Basin into the foothills, those clouds sticking around for today. And we have a slight chance for maybe a sprinkle or a flurry to pop up this morning further to our south. So as we get you over to Skywatch radar, you could see some of that activity around Hermiston, down into Pendleton as well this morning. The majority of the area, though, looking much better compared to yesterday. And then that low pressure system, as it slowly works off to the east, we'll see that slow clearing, a lot of sunshine returning, especially for the Yakima and the Kittitas Valley this afternoon. Temperatures were either at or just above that freezing mark this morning. We will see again some sunshine returning as we take you throughout your afternoon, and we're looking at a high temperature today of 40 degrees. So coming up, as we look ahead into your weekend, we could be seeing another snow chance moving in. I'll tell you when you can expect it. Your forecast that's coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. Breaking overnight, residents of a Grant County town were told to flee due to the threat of a potential explosion. Crews have been battling a large fire at the Washington Potato Company plant in Warden. Residents in the area were told to evacuate their homes as first responders warned of the possibility of an ammonia tank explosion. An update shared very early this morning said those evacuations have been lifted now and that firefighters have assessed the situation and say the risk for the explosion has passed. Thankfully, no injuries have been reported at this time. The fire was first reported in the factory dehydrator around 5:30 p.m. Video posted from the Grant County Sheriff's Office shows firefighters attempting to gain control of the flames. We'll be getting another update from them later this morning. The fire is expected to burn throughout the night. Investigators don't know what caused a deadly military helicopter to crash near an upstate New York neighborhood Wednesday. Residents say the soldiers aboard were heroes for making sure they didn't hit any homes. Tanner Jubinville has the story.
Members of the military, law enforcement, and first responders escorted the remains of the 3 soldiers from the crash site in Mendon to the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office in a special procession Thursday morning.
These guardsmen were members of our Monroe County community stationed here, and like so many others, swore an oath to protect the freedoms and liberties that we hold dear.
Monroe County Sheriff's Office spent the day combing through the debris field and nearby properties using canines and ATVs.
We brought out our drone team. They are helping us document the crash site, taking that important video. We'll be turning that over to the crash investigators. We've done significant ground search to make sure that we completely understand the scope of this crash site and that we contain it.
Neighbors still haunted by what they saw and heard.
It was unnerving. Yeah, it was so close. I mean, he could have actually, could have hit the house, anybody's house. You know, it was very scary because you actually saw it all happening, you know, but you didn't know what was happening.
Many here just thankful no one on the ground was hurt, saying they are convinced the soldiers' last brave act was crashing where they did, avoiding nearby homes.
It breaks my heart. I can't even imagine the effort it must have taken to get that helicopter to the field away from the houses. And that really gave me pause this morning.
The UH-60 helicopter, similar to this one, was part of the C Company of the 1st Battalion, 171st General Support Aviation Battalion, based out of the Rochester Airport. The Army National Guard says it was on a routine training mission when it went down Wednesday, killing all 3 soldiers on board.
I feel sorry for the families, and it's just a tragic accident. And like you said, they probably risked their lives to save others, so it's very sad.
And the Army is leading the investigation into that incident. Back here locally, a Pasco man is getting support from the community as he recovers from a long battle with COVID-19. Mike Welch was diagnosed before Thanksgiving. A GoFundMe set up for Welch has raised over $51,000. He was in the ICU for 52 days, undergoing treatments and intubation. But recently, he was transported to Boise, where he's recovering at an acute care facility.
My dad still has a huge, long road, to battle back. He's still extremely weak, He's not out of the woods at all, but, making improvement.
His daughter Amanda thanks everyone who's donated. She also encourages people to continue wearing masks to prevent the spread and extreme cases like her father's. State Fair Park is being recognized for their creative drive-through fair food fest held last September in place of the Central Washington State Fair, which was canceled due to COVID. State Fair Park received first place in the non-fair facility usage contest held through the International Association of Fairs and Expositions. They recognized the achievements of fairs across the world. While other places held drive-through events, Yakima organizers said their event stood out.
The real uniqueness of this event really was about the marketing campaign. We had a really fun branding for the event, as well as the creation of the car selfie.
Kramer says the 2021 Central Washington State Fair is scheduled for September 24th to October 3rd and should be back bigger and better with many surprises. She says people can also look forward to another Fair Food Fest in May. Yakima Valley libraries are closing their doors again at the end of the week because of COVID restrictions. They don't know when they'll be able to reopen, but in the meantime, the library will still offer curbside pickup and drop-off, and you can still access their online services, including digital books, video streaming, and online magazines. And the Mid-Columbia Public Library system is also limited to curbside pickup and returns right now. Since you can't go inside and browse the shelves, the library is offering a grab bag option where you can request a genre online like kids books, mysteries, or nonfiction, to name a few, and then librarians will put together books for you to enjoy at home. All right, at 6:05, now more than ever, we probably don't need a reminder about how precious life is, but you can reflect on the miracle of every birth today. That's because it is Celebration of Life Day. The observation is a chance to marvel at every newborn who comes into this world and all the joy they bring their families. This one is pretty easy to celebrate. If you have a little one at home, spend some special time with them. If not, maybe video chat with a grandchild, niece, or nephew, or even one of your friends' kids.
Yes, and I feel like, especially with the people that I know, there's a lot of newborns out there that I've just been enjoying. This is, the time I can enjoy, at least on Facebook and social media, because we're trying to social distance. Those are the pictures, and they just make you smile.
They really do. My fiance's sister just had a little baby.
They're so cute.
Can't wait until we can cuddle that little one. All right, let's take a quick break here in Good Morning Northwest, but first, let's take that live look outside.
And a lot of cloud cover as we start off and head into the upcoming weekend, but also looking ahead to another snow chance that could impact the upcoming weekend. Your full forecast, it's coming up.
Plus, how a Tri-Cities teen is going above and beyond to help out others who are struggling. More on his good deed next. Welcome back, everyone. An upstanding Tri-Cities teenager is giving back to a local nonprofit. Connor Allison made a donation to My Friend's Place in Kennewick. The teen gathered all this food and toiletry items for teens who stay at the center. It's an overnight sanctuary for teens in the area, part of the Safe Harbor Support Center. Employees say since the pandemic started, they've actually seen an increase in donations like Connor's, which helps a lot since their work hasn't slowed down one bit.
Those are all things that are flying off of the shelves in every single store. And he was able to do a drive and, get stuff that the girls would like, that the boys would like. When it comes to donations, they go so far here.
Right now, they're accepting more donations. They must be new. You can drop them off at 111 North Grant Place in Kennewick. A statewide effort to make sure at-risk moms have the support they need is getting a boost from Molina Healthcare. They donated 750 care packages with supplies like personal protective equipment, sanitizer, and a thermometer to the Parent-Child Assistance Program, or PCAP. It's a 3-year program designed to help moms and pregnant women dealing with addiction build a healthier life for themselves and their kids by connecting them with case managers, mental health assistants, and other resources. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, local officials are calling on Governor Inslee to give them more control over reopening. But will their effort make a difference? We're looking into that next. Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. 1 year ago, we heard the announcement that doctors in Washington had identified the first case of COVID-19 in the United States. Investigators believe that first patient got the virus during a trip to Wuhan, China. The man, who was in his 30s, had reportedly come home 2 days before the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention began screening travelers. At that point, there were no lockdowns yet, and it wasn't considered a pandemic yet.
As he had seen reports in China where there were many deaths, and so he was very fearful that things could go poorly for him as well. Really lived in a fishbowl while he was here in a highly isolated environment, and so that was emotionally difficult for him.
At the time, the U.S. was only one of 5 countries with reported COVID-19 infections. The Kennewick City Council passed a reopening resolution last night asking Governor Inslee to let local elected officials control the city's reopening on their terms. But do they actually have the power to reopen everything? Cap KVU's Ellie Nakamoto-White explains.
This is for the voice of the people, and that's Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, everything.
Benton County Commissioner for District 3, Will McKay, helping draft this resolution to Governor Inslee.
What the resolution is basically saying is going to the governor and saying, Governor, please let the local jurisdiction control our county, our local area, instead of having him control the whole state.
McKay says this will actually benefit both our local businesses and Tri-City residents.
We're a social human being. Like we like to socialize, right? Well, we're socializing at home, at places that aren't set up for COVID safety. So the safe places really should be the restaurants, the stores that are set up that way, not at home.
Jerome Delvin, the Benton County chairman, says he agrees with the resolution.
The school boards have that authority. They can open and close their schools as they want based on what they see. I think, city councils and commissioners should be able to, along with the health district, make those determinations if they can safely open up.
McKay says his main goal is to redistribute the power amongst the people.
It should be your choice. It should be the owner's choices. It should be our choice as customers coming into that establishment, whether we feel safe or not. So it should be our choice to go do those things.
Thank you, Ellie. And that resolution passed in a 5-2 vote. Well, we know that a lot of people adopted pets at the beginning of the pandemic to help ease the stress of loneliness and being stuck at home. But some are going even farther, making a huge investment and sometimes even traveling thousands of miles for a dog that's specially trained to help with things like PTSD and autism. One expert says the surge in demand caught her off guard.
I didn't know that dogs were going to be part of the relief of the pandemic.
I mean, the isolation is not good for anybody, but especially the young kids when they're suddenly pulled away from all their friends and all their community. It was just really hard. So.
Dogs can be very helpful, but no matter what kind of pet you're considering, make sure you're ready for a long-term commitment.
Now, Cap KVU First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls.
Well, we are all excited. The weekend is getting closer, finally Friday, and we're going to see some small changes out there today. A lot of the wet weather and the snow chances that we had yesterday have now been moving out, but there's still a sprinkle or flurry in some locations and a lot of cloud cover. So as the sun comes up this morning, I think the majority of the area will be seeing that mostly cloudy sky. So there is that live look in downtown Yakima. Certainly a different story than yesterday, where again, a lot of that snow was coming down. But again, a cloudy start early this morning. a lot more sun back in the forecast for your Saturday. Another snow chance, so winter weather will be returning, especially later in the day on Sunday. And just overall a chilly weekend. Typically, at least right now, 43 is where we're sitting at. And the majority of the 7-day forecast will be below average, with our coldest day here on Sunday with that high temperature of 36 as that next system starts to move on in. And then looking ahead to next week, 40 degrees on Tuesday and still some low 40s there Wednesday into Thursday of next week. So Skywatch radar, there's still a few light returns that are popping up, mainly dry though through the majority of our area. But as we give you a closer look here further to our south into parts of Oregon, we are seeing maybe a sprinkle or flurry left over, mainly south of Stanfield this morning. Really looking at that fog that has popped up though along the foothills of the Blues this morning. So as this low pressure system, this will slowly work off to our east. We still have those clouds that are left over further to the north of this low pressure system. They'll slowly clear out and we will see some sunshine returning for the second half of the day today, especially for the Yakima and the Kittitas Valley. I think the clouds will be a little bit slower to clear out from the Tri-Cities and into the foothills of the Blues later on this afternoon. But everybody will enjoy that sunshine for your Saturday before more clouds start to spill back in. So it will be a cloudy start early in the day on Sunday. I think the snow chances will start to build in the second half of the day on Sunday, especially later on towards the evening and overnight hours on Sunday night. So there's Monday at 2 a.m. I think as you're waking up early on Monday morning, parts of the Tri-Cities, especially to the east of the Tri-Cities, will have that chance for a little bit of some light snow left over before really starting to clear things out by Monday afternoon. As far as temperatures go out the door this morning, we're seeing 33 in the Tri-Cities with 31 in Walla Walla. Hermiston, good morning to you. You're at 36, and then 34 for Yakima and even over into Toppenish. And as I mentioned, there is a little bit of some fog that has popped up there along the foothills of the Blues. And some of this is freezing fog, so just a heads up, there could be a few icy spots as you head out the door this morning. So there are your current temperatures, what we're expecting, I should say, for this afternoon, with 41 for Yakima into Toppenish. Connell today into the Tri-Cities at 40 degrees. Hanford jumping up to about 41. And then those mid-30s for Dayton, Walla Walla, and also into Pendleton. So we will have that clear sky tonight. Just going to be a very cold night as those numbers dip down into the low to mid-20s. So there's your 7 days. Sunny start Saturday. The chance for some winter weather developing later in the day on Sunday. And then dry conditions Monday and Tuesday before more winter weather on Wednesday. We'll have a sunny day in Yakima on Saturday. Beautiful day there at 39. And then there's that winter weather by Sunday with a high of 35.
Thank you, Kristen. Coming up next, are the Tokyo Olympics in jeopardy of being canceled again? Their CEO is letting us know what he thinks will happen next. Welcome back at 6:24. The Tokyo Olympic Games are going ahead as scheduled. That's according to Australian Olympic Committee CEO Matt Carroll. On Friday, he denied reports that the Japanese government privately concluded the Olympics would have to be canceled.
The Tokyo Games are on. The flame will be lit on the 23rd of July 2021. This has just been reconfirmed again by the Japanese Prime Minister this afternoon in Parliament in Tokyo. Tokyo 2020 will be a very different Games. Simpler, but with a focus on the athletes and their competitions. Sadly, ceremonies and cultural aspects of the Games will be reduced. Decisions on spectators, local and international, are still to be made.
So the committee says a bunch of COVID safety measures will be in place. We'll just have to see, Kristen. But for now, it's time to take a look at our reason to smile.
Yes, I want to introduce you to Julian. I love her pose. She's just kind of...
Oh, she's sassy.
She is. You could see that just the way she's sitting up.
Also, I need to ask her, how does she get that volume in her hair?
Right? Oh, that would be such a good question. But no, she's just sitting outside, enjoying some of the sunshine, just loving life.
She's gonna have a good weekend.
Thank you to Keith Weller for submitting this photo. If you have one that you would love to share, just head over to yakchinews.com and we have our photos of the day section there.
That's right. Coming up next, another big company is on the brink of being able to offer up another version of a COVID-19 vaccine.
And at 6:26, we're giving you a live look outside right now. The sun will be back eventually as we head into the weekend, but I am tracking another snow chance that could impact part of the area. Your full forecast is coming up during the 6:30 half hour.
Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, when and where you'll be able to get a COVID-19 vaccine locally.
And we could be looking at more winter weather to impact us as we head into the upcoming weekend. More details on that forecast is all coming up.
From Camp KVU Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and happy Friday. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Monica Petrozelli. Kristen, we enjoyed a bit of snow yesterday.
We did.
You mentioned more winter weather on the way?
There is a possibility, but we will see a little bit of some sun at least before that does move into the area. So at least that's nice. But we're starting off this morning, a lot of cloud cover as we start off your Friday. So let's get you started with that live look. This is downtown Yakima. Different story than yesterday where the snow was kind of piling up in the Yakima Valley as that system made its way through. Now there is still a sprinkle or flurry left over around our area, mainly further to our south around Hermiston, down around Pendleton this morning, and a little bit of some fog that has also developed. So just a heads up there. I think the majority of the area will be dealing with the cloud cover first this morning. That low pressure system, that's slow to work off to the east, and eventually we will see that slow clearing, especially for the Yakima and the Kittitas Valley this afternoon. Temperatures this morning, we're starting off in the 30s for the majority of the area. Cle Elum, though, you're down to about 25 this morning. So there is a little bit of some sunshine to peek out this afternoon. We should see that high temperature today of 40 degrees. But again, looking ahead to your weekend, part of the weekend could see another snow chance. I'll tell you when you can expect it, your full forecast. It's coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. A mass vaccination site is opening on Monday in the Tri-Cities. They're setting it up at the Benton County Fairgrounds in Kennewick. They're expecting a shipment of doses Monday morning and say they should be up and running by 1 o'clock. But they're reminding everyone not to just show up at the fairgrounds looking for a shot. Instead, you should use Washington's Phase Finder online to see if you're eligible first, then screenshot or print the certificate if you are, and bring that with you along with your ID to the fairgrounds on Monday. We have details on this vaccination site, a link to Phase Finder, and a list of other local COVID shot locations at yaktrinews.com. There's apparently some confusion surrounding the COVID-19 vaccine. The Kaiser Family Foundation reports roughly 60% of Americans aren't sure where or when they can get a shot. Researchers say the respondents felt frustrated, confused, and angry about the situation. These findings are based on more than 1,500 people interviewed between January 11th and the 18th. But you don't need to be confused. We have the very latest data, local vaccine news, and sign-up instructions at yaktrinews.com/vaccine. And an update, Johnson & Johnson is planning to have enough COVID-19 vaccines for 100 million Americans by April. A board member said that's the plan if the clinical trial works out. Right now, Johnson & Johnson is conducting a large-scale trial to make sure their vaccine is safe and effective. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the company is close to seeking an emergency use authorization from the FDA. Unlike the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines that are already available, Johnson & Johnson's vaccine would be a single shot, and it doesn't need to be stored in super freezers. President Joe Biden spent his first full day in office yesterday focused on dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. Biden has signed more than a dozen executive orders since being sworn in Wednesday. He's now requiring masks on federal property and during interstate travel on planes and buses. He's also working on getting more supplies to fight the coronavirus.
To address the supply shortages by ramping up production and protective equipment, syringes, needles, you name it. And when I say wartime, people kind of look at me like wartime. Well, as I said last night, 400,000 Americans have died. That's more than have died in all of World War II.
Biden says he's working with FEMA and the CDC to get mass vaccination sites up and running and to make sure there are enough people trained to administer those vaccines as well. A Pasco man is still fighting to recover after getting COVID-19 last fall. We heard from his daughter, who says he's recovering but has a long road ahead.
It's been 56 days since Mike Welch has been home. His daughter Amanda says he started to feel sick just before Thanksgiving. Then, when the holiday rolled around,
we realized how sick my dad was when he got to get out of the car to go into the emergency room. And they asked him if he needed a wheelchair, and he said yes.
Welch was diagnosed with COVID-19 and underwent multiple treatments in the ICU. Then he texted everyone before getting intubated,
saying, all right, well, they're going to do it, okay? I love you. I'll see you guys soon.
Mike spent 52 days fighting for his life in the hospital. Eventually, his family was told to prepare for the worst.
Basically, they felt like my dad was hopeless. They wanted us to start making end-of-life decisions for him. My dad had fought this long for us, so we needed to start fighting for him because he's just a great man.
And thank goodness they fought.
See you soon, Dad, okay?
Welch is now in an acute care facility for respiratory recovery in Boise.
He's still extremely weak, He's not out of the woods at all, but, making improvements.
After 7 weeks of silence, they finally heard his voice.
Where there used to be so much silence and echoed back, I love you, it was amazing.
Amanda says they couldn't have powered through without support from the community. And although he's still fighting, they're positive Mike will return home.
I've always known my dad is amazing. I'm surprised by it, but I'm not, because my dad, just if you meet him for even a second, he'll leave an imprint on your heart.
Now, Amanda and her family encourage everyone to keep wearing masks to prevent cases like this. In just 6 days, a GoFundMe for Mike's medical bills has raised over $51,000. This will help with medical costs, and if you'd like to donate, we have the link on our website, yaktrynews.com. Switching gears here at 6:36, check this out. Talk about a sweet job. The Candy Funhouse in Ontario is looking for candyologists.
Such a thing.
I mean, there's meteorologists, Kristen.
That's true.
There got to be candyologists. It's a fancy title for someone willing to get paid for eating thousands of confectionery products. The position pays $30 per hour and is available for full-timers or on a contract basis. Those interested in applying can do so until February 15th. These candyologists will help the company pick the products that will be part of their new Candy Funhouse candy line.
You'd have to be careful if I were on board. It would be all chocolate items for me. Chocolate this, chocolate that.
It's kind of a dangerous job.
Oh, it would be.
You could put on a few pounds with that one.
Probably, yes. Pretty quickly.
All right.